Okay, Danny. So I guess stemming away from your love of Napoli, before we get into recent performances and stuff like that, what have you made of the season so far? Obviously, these past couple weeks hasn't been easy in terms of injuries, in terms of players being out due to all kinds of different things. Was first, like you guys were on first place for quite a while. Obviously battling with Milan. Now Inter is really, and Atalanta really making a surge up the table. What have you made of Napoli's season so far? What have you liked from the team? What have you disliked, and where do they go? To end off the calendar year.
Well, so far I'd say it's sufficient. It's to my expectations. Would I have liked us to be a little bit further up the table now because of our great start, of course. However, we're only 4 points off still from first, so it's not like insurmountable. But also, the extraordinary circumstances of like, what is it, 5 or 6 starting players being injured all at the same time. That's very, very hard to deal with for any club. Not just for Napoli. You saw what happened with Milan too. They had a bunch of injuries and their results are suffering because of it. But yeah, definitely it's a little bit disappointing after the very strong start. I think even that Roma game, I would take a tie from that just because we did start off very well, and that was if we had won that game, it would have been 9 in a row. However, Roma were a tough team at the time. Mourinho had them ticking in the beginning of the year. I don't know what happened to them ever since then. But so as of now, I would say it's to my expectations from before the season started.
And I mean, look at these past run of games. You mentioned the injuries pretty much since at least in the SerieA since the Salernitana game, and even that was a tough game. I mean, it's a derby. Any derby's tough, but they won. That's what matters. But 1-1 against Verona. You had the loss against Inter 3-2, beat Lazio 4-0, and then tied Sassuolo 2-2. Sorry. Lost to Atalanta 3-2, and then this past weekend lost to Empoli 1-0. I mean, obviously it's not time to panic or anything, but like, what do you make of these past run of games? At least these past 6 games where they only have 1 win in 6.
Well, it is a bit disappointing to me in terms of results. However, what I see, the product that I see on the field is pretty good still. Sorry, I have some people coming into my room.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
Let me get back to.
It's all good.
Refocus, Danny. It's all good, bro.
Just what was I saying? I said, To put it in a different perspective, last year under Gattuso, we had a lot of injuries as well, and we were doing terribly in the league with those injuries. Obviously, we weren't. Wins were few and far in between. However, the product on the field at the same time was not up to standard regardless. When you could tell a team has a specific strategy and the coach is really grinding it into his players, when even with injuries, the team still works, if you know what I mean. So even in these games, even in that game against Empoli, I really think we should have won. We still had the chances to win. It was just very unlucky. That happens sometimes. It's soccer. It's a sport,
Crossbar,
you could win, lose, or tie, obviously. And that just happens. Even in the Atalanta game, I thought we showed a lot of heart. I thought we played really well for most of that. But it's Atalanta at the end of the day. They were going to take advantage of our missing players at some point, and they did, because they're a great team. So honestly, I am disappointed because I think that we're good enough to be at least in the top 3. However, you kind of just have to take what's given to you at this time, and hopefully when they come back, when all the players come back healthy, results come as well.
And you mentioned quickly before Johnny. Sorry, John. I just wanted to cut you off just quickly. You mentioned the Atalanta game, even the Inter game. I think there's more time on the clock. Napoli picks up at least a point in those games. They were very close. So it's not what I'm trying to say, and we opened the show with this, Danny, before you came on. This panic button shouldn't be pressed, in my personal opinion, for any of those teams in the in that top four, or top from two to four. I don't think the panic button should be pressed. Is what I'm trying to say, and because these games are all close. There's no easy games, and it's a long season, so you're gonna have your ups and downs. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. Sorry, John.
No, I just wanted to add to what Danny's point was saying, because I mean, like the game versus Leicester was more or less the same squad we had versus Empoli, and it was a game that I have to agree with Danny. Like we could have easily got a goal, we could have drove, and it was we could have got the 1-1 result, or we could even actually won that game. It's just bad luck, unfortunately, happens in soccer, and it's frustrating because I mean, look, prior to that we beat Leicester, to get to move on in Europa League. So, but obviously one positive, one negative. We'll focus more on the recent game itself, Dan. What were your personal thoughts about that game? If you have any frustrations that you need to get out of the way, I mean, if you want to vent for a second, go ahead. But what were some positives? What were some negatives? Are you a little bit worried about Zielinski's situation, type of thing? Having issues breathing, and now apparently he has bronchitis. What do you think about everything?
The only thing with Zielinski, I still have no clue what's going on with him. There's conflicting reports everywhere. I don't get it. Is he going to be there for the game on the weekend? Obviously, it's against Milan. I would love to have Zielinski there because he's been so important to us lately.
Yeah.
Finally picking up his form. So obviously we need him at this time. But so I mean, I don't understand. Every game we got another guy going down, and I don't understand what's happening. It's just siamo stregati in Italian. Yeah. We're bewitched at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And but also another negative that I would like to add is Lozano. I don't understand what's happening to him. His performances have severely regressed over the past 10, 15 games. I'd say probably after that Juve game where I don't know if you guys remember, but Gattuso made him stay on. Otherwise, we would have been down to 10 men. It was at home,
yeah.
And he had gotten injured, and we had no more subs left, and he was made to stay on. And ever since that injury, I feel he's been total zero. So I don't know. That's another negative that I'd bring up, because without him, without a real winger on the team, a guy that can kind of take a guy one-on-one and get crosses in the box, we're lacking severely that right now, that element.
Do you think Napoli should target any players or any positions in the transfer market?
I think definitely a right winger, 100%, because even Politano this season has not shown to be. I don't think either of them have shown to be a starting caliber right now, either Politano or Lozano. And for whatever reason, Napoli Twitter goes up in arms every time either is mentioned. There's always a fight. Yeah. I'm sure Johnny knows.
Sometimes it's great entertainment.
I don't know why, because it's you're fighting mid against mid. There's just none of them are good. Neither, they're both good. Neither of them are world class great, where they should have a specific fan base. There's no rhyme or reason to be a Lozano fan, nor is there any rhyme or reason to be a Politano fan. Yeah, they're good players, but
there's always a third party that's just guys, we're blessed to have both. It's the positive.
And then we're blessed to have both people too. I don't know.
And then he's they're both average guys. It's not a blessing.
They're both extremely replaceable. It's not like Insigne, where Insigne, when he's off his game, I wouldn't even say when he's off the field, when he's off his game, because this whole season he's been off his game, really.
Yeah.
We are severely struggling with it.
He hasn't scored since he hasn't scored an open play at all of this season, which is very concerning to me.
Very.
I feel as if something's a little bit off. Maybe those contract negotiations are playing a bit more of a factor than we realize.
I had a follow-up question to what I asked you before about who to get, but now that you brought up Insigne, I'm going to ask you two questions. Sorry, Adriano and Gianni, I'm stealing two questions here.
Go ahead.
First, I saw it on, I think it was like Calcio Brutti. So, this isn't the best news source, but I saw apparently Papu Gomez was quoted to say that if he would return to SerieA, he would love to go to Napoli. Is that a player? So my first question is Papu Gomez a player you think would fit into the lineup, or no, or is it just, he's kind of past his prime, just let it be? And then, Johnny brought up Insigne. So there's that whole contract. His contract's expiring this season. He's rumored to go to TFC. What do you make of that whole situation?
Well, sorry, this was a question directed to me, correct? Or to
Yeah.
John? Okay.
Yeah.
You're a guest. They're always directed at you.
All right. Because he said Johnny, and I just wanted to make sure that.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So, in terms of Papu, I saw that today. I was trying to fact check it, but I couldn't really find any. Well, whatever. We'll pretend like he said it. Okay. I love Papu. I love him as a player. I love him as a person. I think he brings a great atmosphere to a club. However, what is he, 34, 35 now?
33, yeah, some of that.
Something around there. And I don't know. I don't think we need more, guys over 30 right now. I mean, we got Insigne, we got Mertens, we got a pretty aging squad, to be honest. The core of our squad is aging. And even Koulibaly. So I don't really think that a guy of his age could do much for us right now. If we're planning for the future, obviously, if it's right now, then sure, yeah, 100%. He's a great player. He's still balling for Sevilla, So yeah. Maybe. And about Insigne with the contract talks, I think it's definitely weighing on him. I don't really understand how a player goes from winning the Europeo, being important. Even all last season, he's literally the top left winger in all of Europe in terms of statistics. And you go from that to this season where I don't even know how many assists he has. I haven't really checked. I don't think it's many. And no open play goals. Mm-hmm. No tiraggi.
No tiraggi, that's right.
It's like I don't remember the last time he scored a tiraggi for Napoli. I can't remember.
Oh, wow.
I can't even remember either. I'm trying to scratch my brain right now.
I can't remember. It was definitely sometime last season, but I don't know. So it's a very, I don't understand why we let it go on for this long to such an important player. Mm-hmm. Maybe the president is doing everything he can, but Insigne really wants to leave at the end of his contract. Who knows? And this is just the game he's playing. I don't know. It could be that, but in any way, shape, or form, it's disappointing because as a Napoli fan, as a Neapolitan, you want to see the star boy, bring a Scudetto to Napoli. Like that's mm-hmm. the goal. And to have a Neapolitan on the squad doing it as the captain would be insane. And this would be the season to do it. I'm not saying we're the favorites. I'm not saying we ever were the favorites, but it's so open this season that Napoli could actually do it. So it is disappointing.
I agree. And especially, like you said, Dani, a guy like Insigne, I think, already he has the pressures. We've said it time and time again on this show. You know about it. Everybody knows about it in the cultural world. How much pressure Insigne has, right? Like you said, being Nabuadan, playing for the boyhood club, wearing the captain's armband now. Seeing guys before him, who have performed at such a high level. The myth and the legend of the late Diego Armando Maradona, right? Who brought glory to Napoli. It's a lot of pressure for Insigne, and I think it's unfortunate that this is going on. I don't know how much I'm gonna, put thought into him going to TFC. I don't know if he's gonna go to Toronto. I don't know. I would be such a shame if that's what would happen. Him going from SerieA to the MLS. I'm sorry, guys, but it's night and day. I think the contract is going to get resolved. Dani, I don't know how optimistic you are about the contract being resolved. I saw reports maybe even in January. If it doesn't happen in January, I think by the summer, obviously, it's going to have to get resolved. Do you have any optimism in it getting resolved quickly?
I do, but cautious, because in this sport, in this current climate of the sport, it's like every day is a different day. It obviously it sounds stupid, but it's true. It's true, because today now Insigne could be, oh, I want to stay. Next day, not Barcelona, because they're not in any possible way going to do it. But Real Madrid comes knocking, says, oh, I want you. And then all of a sudden he's a Real Madrid player, you know? So, and when you don't have a player tied down to a contract, a long-term contract, you run that risk. You run that very high risk of losing him day to day. So honestly, every day that passes, I get a little bit more antsy with it.